Hello everyone, welcome to 7-Minute Guitar. Today we're talking about exercise 4, which is major chord pairs. So the way this works is I've divided the chords into major chords and minor chords, just to kind of get your ears used to hearing the differences between those chords. So this particular exercise is just going to focus on major chords. We're not going to deal with any of the minor chords. So the difference is, just to quickly define that, is with a major chord you kind of have a bright sound like this. So that's E major. If I were to do E minor, I would have kind of a sad sound, and that's this. Right? So you hear the difference. Major chord equals happy, minor chord equals sad. Now, it's not a hard and fast rule. You'll hear a lot of songs that have a mix of both major and minor chords. But getting a good grasp on what that means and having your ear recognize the difference between those chords, that's one of the most important things you can do as a guitar player. In fact, what I see a lot are people who will confuse two chords, which are known as a relative major and a relative minor chord. So for example, there's a G and then its relative minor, which might be E minor or is E minor. Another pair would be C and its relative minor is A minor, right? So doing this exercise will help you to train your ear and make that distinction between the major sounding chords and the minor sounding chords. Okay, so that said, what you're going to see are major chords drawn from what you can call the caged system, or C-A-G-E-D. And these are the most basic chords that exist in the first position and also open position, meaning that they use open strings as part of the chord. So for example, you might see of that caged set, C-A-G-E-D, you might see the chord G and the chord D. So I'll use those as an example. Okay, so G, you're going to make like this. There are actually a few different ways to make the G chord, but we're going to focus on what I think is the most common way of making the G chord, which is with all four fingers. So you've got your good technique to make the G chord, and then the next one is D. So then what you can do is just pivot on this third finger, right? Swing down and then make that D chord like this and play four strings. So the idea behind just doing two chords and doing them for the select amount of time, which is probably 30 seconds, is not to do something boring and repetitive, but to actually train your fingers, because what you're doing is you're building muscle memory. When you're playing the same chords over and over again, you've got muscle memory to make the same shape and repeat the process. And once you can do that, then you can start singing, you can start doing whatever else you want to do. You can kind of mix it up, focus on a different kind of strumming pattern, things like that. And again, just focusing on two chords builds good habits, because what happens is for the G, you need to be playing 6 strings, right? But then for the D, you need to be playing only 4 strings, right? And a lot of times beginning guitar players, when they play a chord like the D that only requires 4 strings, they're going to play everything, and it sounds muddy. It doesn't sound good at all, because you're getting a low E in there, and that just kind of makes it sound garbled, right? You have an ill-defined chord as opposed to the 4 strings where you have a well-defined chord, right? So doing simple things well like that is what makes a really good guitar player. So major chord pairs, right? We're going to be limited to C, A, G, E, and D. Those are the chord choices. Play them thoroughly. Go for precision. And the other thing to do too is, besides strumming, you can try one note at a time, especially if you're really new to these chords, and make sure each note is ringing cleanly. All right, so that's about it. Thanks for watching.